Hola, bonjour, and hello. Welcome to this episode of the Sprachenzentrum's Minding Your Language series. Are you having trouble with verb tenses right now? Have you had trouble with verb tenses in the past? If so, stay tuned. This might be the video for you. Today, we'll be looking at tense and aspect in English. That is, we'll be looking at differences in use between those pesky verb forms, like the present simple and present continuous, and the past simple and present perfect. Hopefully, this will be a good refresher for anyone who's interested, but this video might be especially helpful to you if your first language is German. Alright, let's get started. So, first things first, let's review what we probably already know about verb tense. Tense refers to the time period when something happens or happened. To begin with, we've got the present tense, which describes something that's happening in the present. For example, let's take our friend John.
Hello.
John studies at Riverbend University and likes to visit the library. We could say something like, John is walking to the library now. This action is happening now, so it's in the present. But if we say, John walked to the library yesterday, we now have the past tense because yesterday is done and finished. Many times, we're often taught that there is a future tense. This is a bit misleading, as we don't really do anything to John's verb walk to talk about the future, but rather use one of the many future forms like will or be going to. That, however, is a topic for another video. Okay, now that we've reviewed tenses a bit, let's take things to the next level. Aspect. Aspect is a little different than tense. In essence, it refers to how we can look at a single verb tense from different perspectives. For example, the phrases John walks to the library, John is walking to the library, and John has walked to the library are all in the present tense, but they're looking at the action of walking from different viewpoints.
Quick reminder.
The continuous form is made by using the be verb and a main verb with ing, like in the example, John is walking. The perfect form is built by using the verb have or has and a past participle, which is usually the ed form of a verb, but can be irregular, like in the case of go becoming gone. An example would be, John has walked to the library. When do we use the different forms of each tense? That can seem pretty confusing at first, so let's see if we can simplify it a bit. Let's start by looking at a new term, happenings. What is a happening? Well, a happening is simply something that happens. Things like verb tenses and forms change from language to language, but the ideas behind them, that is, happenings, do not. Let's break it down into smaller elements. The first of these is called an event. An event is something common to all languages. They can be described in every language and refer to a whole happening that cannot be separated. Just like the contents of this locked box, an event is self-contained. Nothing can be removed. When we look at it, we only see the finished event. Events always remain whole, and they always have a clear beginning and a clear end. If we want to talk about an event, we generally use either the past simple, a perfect form, or a future form. For example, if we take another look at our friend John, we could say either John walked to the library or John will walk to the library. Both of those sentences represent an event. They have a clear beginning and a clear end, even though we might not actually state it, and one is in the future. They are happenings that can't be divided into smaller pieces. Now you might be thinking, well, wait a minute. You said we can use a perfect form. We can say, John walked to the library and John has walked to the library, can't we? Well, yes, we can. And those two forms are indeed different. But if we look at it in terms of an event, they both express completed happenings in the past. The only difference, and this is specific to English, is if the time the event occurred is a fixed time in the past. If we say, John walked to the library, we're referring to a fixed point in time. This is true even if we don't actually say when the event happened. When we use the present perfect form, John has walked to the library, what we're really saying is, John completed this event at some point in the past, but when that point was is not important. It was simply before now. Now let's take a look at another type of happening, a process. A process is ongoing. It exists only while activated, or happening, and is always going on. You can imagine a process as containing the stuff of events. It's kind of like taking the contents out of our locked box from before. The process, the stuff inside the box, makes up the event. Processes take place over a period of time, no matter how short or long, that have a beginning and an end. Whether we mention when the beginning and end are is unimportant. Let's take John's walk again as an example. We could say, John was walking to the library 5 minutes ago, John is walking to the library now, and John will be walking to the library in 5 minutes. These are basically the parts that, when put together, make up John's complete walk, the event. If we talk about his walk again tomorrow, the process is ended, and we'd say, John walked to the library yesterday. If we want to talk about processes in English, this is where we use the continuous form. To talk about a process in the past, use the past continuous. To talk about a process happening now, use the present continuous. And to talk about a process in the future, use the future continuous. There are, of course, different ways of mixing and matching tenses and aspects, but hopefully this overview gives you a clear idea of how to go and build sentences a bit more confidently yourself. Well, that does it for today's lesson. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, check out part 2 of this mini-series, or any of our other grammar and English language learning videos linked below. Hasta la próxima! A la prochaine! See you next time!